GameSHOUT Radio is property of GameSHOUT, a company of Red Planet LLC. All rights reserved. Executive producer, Andy Hodges. For live broadcast booking information, syndication, or advertising, email info@GameSHOUT.com. All comments expressed on the show are not necessarily those of GameSHOUT, Red Planet LLC, its advertisers, guests, or syndication affiliates. All music is licensed by ASCAP and BMI. Recordings of this broadcast prohibited without prior written consent.
Welcome back to GameSHOUT Radio. This is Captain Maverick, your host. I'm over here with my friends, Josh Britt. He's over there. Josh, say hi to everybody.
Yo, what's up, everybody?
And there's old Simple Simon. He's sitting in the corner playing with a pie. Hey, hi, Simon. How you doing, man?
Oh, my ears, they bleed. I'm doing pretty good, though.
Yeah, well, we're rocking. We're having some fun. Hey, listen, we got some great fun ahead for you guys today. We got a lot of gaming news. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff going on. And, of course, we are going to open things up, as is our want, with the wacky news from around the world. We got some good stuff. Some really good stuff for you there. But, and, you know, there's some really interesting things that are going on in the world of gaming. And, well, we are just a couple of weeks away from the Master Chief storming everybody's Xbox 360. So, guys, you know, we got to kind of hang on for the ride. That's going to be an awfully good one. I'm kind of like hanging on, and well, I'm kind of excited. You guys get your Halo 3 Xbox 360s yet?
Are they coming our way?
Well, I'm working on them. I've tried, but you know how it is.
No, I'm still, you know, sticking on to the PS3 boat. I'm not sure if I want to stick a foot in each of those pools. It's just... Oh, anyway, we're going to talk more about that later.
I can't justify purchasing it, and that's saying a lot, seeing how much of a Halo fanboy I am.
Yeah, well, at least we already have some Xbox 360s lying around that we can, you know, like, use, but gee whiz, that Halo 3 edition, that looks pretty radical, pretty wild. I don't know, I'm still stuck on the Elite edition, and I think we'll just have to get one for the studio here. But hey, listen, before we get too much further, let's just go ahead and jump on over to the wacky news from around the world, because it is time for the wild, the wet, the wonderful, the wondrous. That's right, the whatever. The wacky news from around the world. And I'm your host, Captain Maverick. We got a lot of fun here. And we're going to start out with, well, don't look now. The butt cam is a success. A new service at a clothing store in Scottsdale, Arizona. The butt cam allows shoppers to try on clothes and see what you look like from behind. I'm sorry, but the butt cam. It just conjures up just way too many nasty. Okay, all right. That's let me compose myself here. All right, I'm better. All right, a lot of people they dread trying on jeans, and well, so many more entertaining. You can make it a little bit better, explains the shop owner Tom Simon. He says, we're thinking of doing the best of and putting it on a DVD. You know, the best of Butts 08, or, well, whatever you like. Yep. There was one way to kill this idea. It would be to make customers fear they were being recorded. So much for the butt cam. The butt cam. They already have those. They put them in. Oh, never mind. Let's not go there. Well, make a note of this. A tip after a $34,000 bank robbery in Callahan, Florida, led the FBI to Barbara S. Joyner. She's 59. They went out to have a little chat with her. The robber had driven off in a yellow car. Joyner had Joyner had one, of course, and, well, a search for the car found a notepad of the type used for the hold-up note. And in Joyner's purse, they found several hold-up notes in bank wrappers. Yet Joyner insisted that she had not robbed the bank. Yet she had admitted writing the hold-up notes for practice. Yeah, that's right, just practice. She was arrested and charged with bank robbery. This, of course, out of the Jacksonville Times-Union. Of course, you know, sometimes practice does not make perfect. Practice, practice, practice. Okay, if you're going to practice writing hold-up notes, may I suggest, get a shredder. Dude, give me a break. Well, are you glad to see me? Yes, a robber succeeded in escaping with 613 pounds, or about $1,236, from a bookmaker's shop in Leicester, England. The clerks were assuming that he had a gun hidden in a bag. He kept pointing at them. Now, the clerks, they were a little concerned, but in fact, it contained his girlfriend's vibrator. Yes, the prosecutor told the judge it did not contain a gun. It contained his girlfriend's vibrator. Nikki Jenks, 27, admitted to the crime and was sentenced to 5 years in prison, plus a lifetime of being known as the Rampant Rabbit Robber. Well, that's my boy. When Pat Sheehan Wheaton of New Zealand saw their unborn son on an ultrasound, they knew that he was for real. Yes, thus after he was born, they registered his name as For Real, you know, the number 4 and real, Wheaton. So For Real Wheaton, which Pat admits was a little bit cheeky. But Brian Clark, the Registrar General of Births, Deaths, and Marriages, rejected the registration, saying that the dictionary definition of name is a sequence of characters. No digits are allowed. Well, the Wheatons say that if their For Real appeal fails, they'll just call him For Real, but will register his name as Superman. What we have here is most definitely a sequence of characters, if you know what I mean.
Isn't a number a character?
So that's
like,
what they're naming their appeal.
No, because I know there are some names that have exclamation marks.
Well, that's a character, but one would think.
Yeah.
That's
well,
what
I
they're
mean,
claiming.
if Shift 1 goes in your name, then 1 goes in your name. That's what I figure. It's the same button on the keyboard.
I think it works. I mean, it works for me, but it doesn't work in New Zealand, evidently.
I wonder if people are going to start naming their kids with, like, leet speak, you know, like square brackets and curvy brackets and equal signs.
Yeah, or something like that. Hey, by the way, I wanted to say a quick howdy-do to my reporter's helper today and thank him. My old buddy Patrick helps me out getting things together for the Wacky News today. He sent me this article, and hey, that's a great way of spelling Maverick. I like that. A lot of brackets and slashes and stuff. That's kind of cool. Anyhow, Patrick sent me this article, and it's kind of cute. A Peeping Tom sues the city to get his pornography back. A convicted Peeping Tom is suing a California city to force the police to return his collection of more than 700 pornographic videos and magazines seized during a criminal investigation. See, Dennis Saunders, he was jailed in 2002 for secretly videotaping a woman and a 17-year-old woman. And he sued the city of San Rafael in March after police refused to return his porn. Now, there's no legal authority for them to withhold this material, according to Saunders' attorney. And there's nothing dangerous about this stuff. I mean, you can buy it on any corner video store. Now, he was sentenced to more than 8 years in jail, but he was released in August after time off for good behavior. Now, Saunders, he has a long history of, well, prior Peeping Tom convictions. During the investigations, the police, they seized Saunders' extensive porn collection, about 500 videos, 250 magazines. Now, Radkin, he said they were worth about $10,000. The city has since refused to return the material, prompting Saunders' lawsuit, which is also asking for punitive damages. Saunders is asking for the tapes of the victims back also, and Radkin says that all the pornographic material was legal to own. Yeah. Well, the lawyer who's representing San Rafael did not return calls for comments on Tuesday. They told the Journal there that the judge would be lawful and appropriate, and they would consider the petition of the court. But several criminal lawyers, they told ABC News that Saunders probably has the right to have his porn back. We'll see. I mean, it seems like a no-brainer, according to Jeremy Blank, the criminal defense attorney in San Francisco. It's as if they seized a copy of the Tropic of Cancer. It's not illegal, and it's not contraband, and it's not evidence. We shall see. Peeping Tom. He wants his porn back. Give me back my porn. Well, a German woman drove down the subway stairs. That's right. In Germany, in Dusseldorf, they blocked the entrance to an underground station when she mistook it for a subterranean car park. 52-year-old woman drove her Volkswagen Beetle across the pavement into the entrance, where she came to a halt 5 steps down. Police estimated the damage to the station about 1,000 pounds, 1,500 euros. The Beetle remained balanced on the 5th step, and the woman was able to get out unaided and unhurt. A truck later towed the car out of the stairwell. The local newspaper said the woman was more shocked and embarrassed than she was hurt. Yeah, she said the stairwell had been painted brighter color than, and the extra lighting had been installed, that she probably wouldn't have gone down the stairwell, but she said no further changes were planned following the incident, or that they said that no further changes were planned, that the station was not considered dangerous. Thank you very much. This is kind of unusual. Out of Merrill, Wisconsin, a 2-nosed calf was born. Kind of interesting. They said, I didn't notice anything too different about her until I got her to the barn. And then all of a sudden, I went to feed her a bottle of milk, and I noticed she'd been kicked in the nose. And there were 2 noses. 2 noses. A second, smaller nose sits on top of the first nose. It's a functioning nose because the middle of her second nose, the flap would go in and out when she drank the bottle of milk, and it was kind of funny. The breeder, Scott Grund, said Lucy's nose seemed to be working just fine. It looked like she was comfortable and laying there and bedding and breathing and spunky, just like, you'd want to see. And it's just that she's got 2 noses. That kind of rare deformity, it's usually not the result of genetics, but breeders do track such mutations. We fill out this form, we send it into the company, and they keep a record of it. And if by chance this would occur more than a few times, they'd start looking, and maybe the sire that we're using. Lucy, who was born on May 4th, will be a pet and bred if she is able. 2 noses. All right, guys. Our last news story for today is, here. If we're going to do it, we're going to do it right. Do it right. Our last news story of the day is a news story. That's right. We have a real news story. Let's do it manly. Soulrift? Ew.
Ew.
Ew, that's right.
I'm just looking at the picture of the cow with the 2 noses, and that's really ew.
Isn't that weird? And a wild. I mean, just wild. Imagine this, though. This doctor ends up removing spiders from this boy's ears. That's ew. A 9-year-old Oregon boy, he complained of an earache. I was a little surprised when the doctor told him that a pair of spiders tried to make a home out of his ear. Jesse Courtney said it felt like tiny spiders were walking across his eardrums. His mother, Diane Courtney, said her son insisted that he kept hearing a faint popping in his ear like Rice Krispies. Before the earache sent him to the doctor. The doctor flushed Jesse's left ear, and the first spider came out dead. The other spider took a second dousing before it emerged, still alive. Both were about the size of a pencil eraser. Jesse was given the spiders, now both dead, as a souvenir. He's already taken them to school to show his classmates. You know what I mean? Yeah, exactly. Well, that is our wild and wacky news from around the world. Boys and girls, join us next week, this same GameSHOUT time, same GameSHOUT channel, for more wacky news from around the world. And be sure to check on GameSHOUT, because once in a while we get our police blotter up there and we get you some more wacky news right there. GameSHOUT.com. And let's just go ahead and take this over to Soulrift, because looks like Soulrift has got a big, huge pile of gaming news sitting in front of him. Soulrift, what have you got for us this week?
You know, I was looking at a bunch of different news stories over here with Josh, and we're kind of chuckling at some of the wacky news stuff, but I do have some interesting stories on the gaming news and the technology news. I want to jump into one tech news bit, just because it's like such a weird, cool idea. I just have to share it with everyone. Essentially, because we're all cell phone addicts these days, and one of the biggest issues with cell phones is the cell towers that go up everywhere, and then you walk around and you keep losing signal, and there's all these issues. But a Swedish company is testing a peer-to-peer technology that could allow mobile phone users to call one another directly without needing to bother with those pesky cell towers. Like, you know how peer-to-peer works. You probably had some encounter with BitTorrent. Where you download fragments of files from other users and then they pass them on to other users, and you kind of just go from the peers, and there's no sort of central network that has it. Well, they're trying to do the same thing essentially with cell phones. Each handset, each cell phone, will look for other handsets nearby in about a 2-kilometer or slightly over a mile range. And then calls and text messages then kind of are routed through each of those handset nodes. They say so far to a maximum of 7 hops until they reach their destination. So, it's not a huge radius. It's not going to carry you all the way across the nation or anything, but it should be enough to reach a cell phone tower. It means that you can put one up every 14 kilometers instead of every 2 kilometers. And it's still enough range, even if there's no cell tower at all, to cover a small rural village or perhaps a disaster zone. And it's just really interesting technology, because instead of going through the central network, each handset acts as like a peer in a peer-to-peer telecommunications network, and you just kind of bounce around through that.
That is just so cool. I mean, so you bounce from peer to peer to peer, and so you don't have to rely on towers that, if it's a disaster, may be blown down in the middle of nowhere in Kansas or someplace.
Right, and plus you don't kind of enter in through the dead zones. Maybe you're in an underground area and you don't get cell reception, but there's someone else in the underground area, and you can hop through their cell phone outside the underground area to the nearest cell phone tower. If cellular companies were to incorporate this technology into existing cellular networks, it would expand range and reception dramatically, even in already fairly dense areas where there are a lot of cell phone towers. So far, only the Ericsson has signed on to this technology developed by Terranet, and the Swedish company Ericsson has so far invested £3 million in the company to continue to develop this technology. So I think it could have some serious future, especially if a major company like Ericsson is backing it.
Well, what really makes now that you mentioned Sony Ericsson, that gets me really interested, because they just recently announced they're doing something else as well. Sony Ericsson, they're announcing a new kind of peripheral for the Sony Ericsson cell phones that kind of acts like a Wiimote for the cell phone, a kind of motion sensing device within the cell phone itself. It sounds like they got a lot on their plate right now.
Yeah, Ericsson really does pick up a lot of really cool technology, and work on stuff like that. I'm always excited to read Ericsson's PR releases.
Well, it just makes me laugh. I'm like, what kind of games are they going to come up with for this motion sensing device cell phone? Those types of those marble games where you got to try and get it in the hole.
I would never just play a game on a cell phone. I mean, really, if you're going to get a portable gaming system, you got to get a real gaming system. A cell phone,
Well, I gotta admit that some of the cell phone games are rather fun. I can't deny the fact that there are cell phone games that are a lot of fun and done really flippin' well. One of which, Doom RPG, was a phenomenal game. I sat there on my cell phone and played through the entire thing, probably a lot more than I should have, but I did, and that was a lot of fun. Zuma for the cell phone, another good one.
Yeah, Zuma, and then Bejeweled for the Palm Trio is awesome. I mean, you got that big color screen, and it plays very, very well on the cell phone. Some of those casual games are great on it.
Not games like Need for Speed, though. I hated that.
Not games like World of Warcraft.
You just wait, man. Down the line here, you're going to be playing WoW on your cell phone. That will be amazing. That would be awesome.
It's like, are you experiencing some lag? Yeah, sorry, my cell phone's not getting some good reception out here in the middle of the wasteland, but I'm raiding from my cell phone.
Well, I think of it like this. You could just conference call, and there you go. No need for event server. You just conference call with your buddies. TeamSpeak right there.
Yeah,
I guess so.
I don't know. That'd be cool to me. We can dream.
Yeah, we could. Well, here, back to the news. We talked last week about how games with online components were more successful than purely offline games, and the strategy analysis has gone further and now predicted that MMOs, the massively multiplayer online games, the revenues from these are going to be going up significantly. They believe that revenues from online games will reach 11.5 billion by 2011, a 25.2, so a full 25.2% compound annual growth rate. So I guess that means every year 25.2 more people will be playing or paying for online games, or MMOs in particular. So
MMOs, 25% more each year?
Yeah, look, Mav, you're the financial guy. 25% compound annual growth rate. What the hell does that mean?
Well, that means that you take 10 million and you add 2.5 million this year, so that's 12.5 million, and then you're going to add another 25% to the 12.5 million, not to the original 10 million.
So the 25% is compounding annually, and if they predict 11.5 billion by 2011, that's good 4 years from now. That means that the industry can't be all that big now. Isn't that like doubling from now?
That's that's huge growth. 25% compounded is huge growth. That it wouldn't take long to say basically, everybody's playing an MMO. There are a lot of MMOs that are like we were talking about last week, those casual games that are massively multiplayer casual games that are not like the first-person shooters or the RPGs that people are playing. They're doing these little microtransactions and stuff, but basically playing the games free. I guess I could see that 25% compounded annually, people playing MMOs. That's a lot of people playing MMOs, dude.
Oh yeah, MMOs do seem to be growing. They say on the same report, here it is, they say that the amount of market share for MMOs will double to 11%. So it's not going to be taking over the entire game market, but I guess it's doubling from 5.5% of the overall game market to 11%, which I suppose is very significant considering that I guess maybe half the game market must be all of those casual games.
Has anyone else heard about the government stepping in to try and tax in-game spending?
Ooh. If the government can tax it, they'll do it.
I'm not even joking. I caught, and I don't remember where I saw this article, and this was just like I want to say at least a week ago. and I want to go back and find this article now, but the government's looking at taxing something in or around MMORPGs. Mostly the spending.
What can they do though?
About the U.S. government.
If you spend 4,000 gold in the game and they tax you at 10%, what are they going to do? Take an extra 10% of your gold and do what with it? Sell it to players?
I know. It sounds crazy, and I know it's completely and utterly retarded, but that's
pretty sure
what the U.S. government's looking to do.
I'm pretty sure it's one of
that belongs
scamming
to the
things
Wacky
like,
News.
they're going to tax you 3 cents every time you send an email because they're losing out on postage.
Yeah.
You know, those scams. I mean, they're never real. I mean, obviously they're not going to tax MMO money. I can imagine if you're buying money from an MMO, but I mean that's making a real purchase with real money. That makes sense.
That's
you can tax
true.
it. But taxing the spending inside the game with in-game currency, because they can't tax a currency that they don't own. They can't tax World of Warcraft gold.
Here's the other thing that they could tax, though. Are there currently taxes on the $14.99 a month, payment that you're paying every month?
Should be. I mean, it depends on the local tax laws. I
Is
think
there,
if it's
though? I mean,
in California, and if you are a California resident, then the state of California taxes your monthly fee. I know if you're a Canadian resident, then it's international tax laws as opposed to local tax laws. But look, man, this is GameSHOUT radio, not Tax Shout radio.
I know.
But wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Story, though.
Taxing in game. Look, if any of you out there have seen this story or heard this story, send us a link to it. Okay, at news@GameSHOUT.com. Okay, I want to see it. That's news@GameSHOUT.com. Send it to us. We really want to check this out. And we'll give you a shout out on the air next week when we bring this information up. But yeah, taxing in game, that's just too wild. As far as taxing your it doesn't appear that. Let me take a look at the account here and see.
Hold on a second. I think I found the article.
Okay.
Whoa.
Give me one moment. It's over at MSN.tech.msn.com. Oh, wait. The article's not here anymore. Hold on.
Here, let me do another quick story while you look for that. The last little bit I had on making a good game, it seems that putting in online stuff, making MMOs, and the number 3 formula for success is get an M rating for your game by the ESRB. That's right. It turns out that games that carry the mature rating not only score higher in Metacritic score, they also sell a lot more copies. It seems that not only does the mature rating not cause games to suffer, it actually bolsters their success in the marketplace, even though some major retails refuse to sell M-rated games. So all those developers that are sitting there thinking, I wonder if I should take a little bit of violence out and get a teen rating, it may actually answer the question why BioShock put some swearing into their game in order to get it up to an M-rated game, if M ratings actually sell much better than teen rating games.
Well, you know that there are games that actually had to work very hard to get down to an M-rated game. One of them.
Well, Mav, the only
1x2
only rating. Yeah, well, the only rating past M is AO, adults only, and the only way to get into there is to have sexually explicit material.
Okay, Manhunt 2. Rockstar Games had a big, difficult time getting the ESRB rating board to drop it from an AO to an M rating because of the aggressive violence involved in that title, and because of the strong language and all the other things that were involved in that, they had a very difficult time getting that down to an M rating. Now, as a matter of fact, because it was originally rated by the ESRB board as an AO rating, it wasn't going to be supported on any of the consoles. So it was difficult for Rockstar to finally get that. I don't know if that originally that their goal was to get a lot of press over that adults only rating, but it did get a lot of press. It's also listed on GameSHOUT.
Did you hear about what they took out when they cut out of that game to make it the M rating?
from what I understand, was some strong language, blood, and gore, but what else did they cut out?
Well, basically all the death scenes. Basically, whenever you snuck up on someone and used the Wiimote or the PlayStation 2 controller to do like a stealth kill or anything, usually there would be some kind of a kill scene.
The garrote.
That was rather gratuitous. Or similar, yeah, like the garrote or a knife to the face or things like that. There would be a very overtly gratuitous scene that has now been cut out. And apparently the screen goes black and blurs whenever that comes to that scene.
Ooh, oh, they cut that out, huh? Bummer. Okay. Okay.
Well, it's kind of funny because, of course, you can go to the esrb.org website and you can actually search games by rating. And I remember we did this a long time ago. And still, you know, if you go there and you go for search by rating, adults only, almost everything is strong sexual content, and this includes literally like, you know, pornographic games or the hentai games, like. And the other stuff is gambling. Certain gambling games are listed AO. But San Andreas has an AO rating for strong sexual content. It's not from the violence. It's not because you could run over people. It's not because you could kill cops or anything. It's because of the strong sexual content in the game that it got bumped up to an AO. And, you know, I'm looking through this list, and the only thing that shows up on everything is either strong or mature sexual content.
Well, it also got bumped up to the AO because of the stupid hot copy mod scandal. But
that's the sexual content, right?
Yeah, but it got taken out of the game. They took it out after the scandal.
Well, then the versions of the game that got sold after that should have been sold in an M rating.
Well, the new reprint copies that they went back and fixed, they should have been sold in an M rating. However, the ESRB redid the game as an AO rating for all the ones that were still on store shelves. And they never overturned the verdict.
So the only way so far, the only games listed on ESRB with an adults only, with the exception of a single gambling game, all have the AO rating because of strong sexual content. So, really, in practice, the only way to get a game listed is strong sexual content. Oh, here's one. Wait a minute. I'm wrong. Thrill Kill by Virgin has animated blood and gore and animated violence. It's for the PlayStation PS1, and it's listed AO. That's odd. Animated violence gets you AO?
Well, there was a lot of... I don't know. I never played Thrill Kill, but, I mean, looking at, the versions of, Manhunt 2 before they pretty much went back and completely redid the coding in the game for certain parts of it. I mean, it was a very violent game. I mean, for anyone who ever played the first Manhunt, the point of the game was to run around and kill people. There really wasn't much of a story. There wasn't really any story, and there really isn't much of a story in the second one, from what I understand, but probably more so than the last to kind of help justify their sales of the games. But still, I mean, there is, to an extent, a certain point where too much ultra-violence, becomes ridiculous. And of all people to do it, why are we not surprised?
Well, of course, and then you're going to see people bring it up to the forefront and say, oh, this is why somebody went violent and went nuts and shot all those people.
Look, I thought we were bringing Jack Thompson on the show anyway.
Rating stuff.
Yeah. Well, we weren't going to call him today, but maybe next week. Hey, I want to bring Ghost Freeman into the discussion sometime. I know we did have a little news article with him a couple weeks ago, but I was just going to say I wanted to bring Ghost Freeman in on this discussion and see what he thought about it, but we'll have to do that maybe next week or the week after,
Well, two more quick stories on publishing news. NCSoft, makers of the doomed Auto Assault that we discussed last week, and the more successful Guild Wars, Dungeon Runners, and Tabula Rasa, have now announced that they're going to be developing for one console, the PlayStation 3. They're going to be extending from PC to PS3. No news on developments for Nintendo Wii or the Xbox 360. However, Nintendo has repeatedly said that they don't want any cross-platform development, especially for online games on their Nintendo. Square Enix, when looking into developing a new MMO to succeed Final Fantasy XI said that their next game will likely be for Xbox 360 and PS3. They wanted it for the Wii. Nintendo said no, so it's going to be cross-platform on the platforms they have available. NCSoft seems to be blowing off the 360 for the time being, and will be making their MMOs for the PS3, probably because of the accessibility of the PlayStation Network as opposed to the more closed Xbox Live and more controlled by Microsoft, which is never a fun thing. On the other hand, although they may not be getting NCSoft games, Xbox 360 owners can look forward to Ninja Gaiden 2, which is apparently being published by Microsoft itself and will be an Xbox 360 exclusive, which kind of bums me out because I really enjoyed Ninja Gaiden.
Did you hear how this all came about, though? I mean, since yesterday, in the last 24 hours, there's been quite a trail leading up to this. I don't think they meant to announce it yet, but...
Oh, do tell.
Well, pretty much yesterday, one of the inquiring websites, somebody found the screenshots for Ninja Gaiden 2 on the Japanese Xbox.com. The screenshots were pulled rather quickly because apparently they weren't supposed to even be up yet. And then when basically a lot of the different news sites started pressing Microsoft for an announcement, they said, we have nothing to say at this time. Well, come today, less than 24 hours later, Microsoft kicks out with, oh, by the way, here's Ninja Gaiden. Oh, by the way, here's the trailer. A little bit of a teaser to go off of. So I don't think they were quite prepared yet to announce it, but because the images were already leaked, and they kind of said, all right, well, we're ahead of... I think and I don't want to say that, they weren't prepared completely. I think it was coming out here rather soon that they were going to announce it, but I don't think it was going to be for another week, maybe two at the most. Sometime within this month that they would announce it. I don't think it was going to be today, though.
Wow, those screenshots are way bloodier than the original game.
Oh, yeah, they are. No, they are heads fly, demons abound, but you know what? I'm glad they're finally, 4 or 5 years later coming out with a second Ninja Gaiden instead of just taking the same one and doing it over and over and over again.
Well, no, but I mean, like, in the original
Black.
game there was heads flying and there was blood splatter, but in this one they've got, like, all of the particle details and the fluid dynamics. I mean, you hit the guy, it's not just a little spurt of blood, it's like blood going all the way across the screen. Oh,
yeah, but it's going to be good.
It's hilarious.
It's going to be good, you know it.
I mean, and this is just really pissing me off with the whole console war right now because there's so many games that are cross-platform on both the Xbox 360 and the PS3, and then there's a few really good games on each system, and you got to pick. You got to get both if you're going to do the whole gaming thing.
Yeah, but you know what the irony is the Ninja Gaiden Sigma was what was going to really at this point, and a few other games, but that was what was going to sell me on the PS3. But now that Ninja Gaiden 2 is coming out for the 360, I'm like, well, I guess I don't need that anytime soon. I'll put that $600 somewhere else.
I really liked Sigma. Sigma was great.
I'm not saying it's a horrible game, but it is the same exact game that I played in both Ninja Gaiden and Ninja Gaiden Black. It's like, seriously,
yep,
we're just
game.
redoing the game over. You're redoing the same game. I mean,
I'll give them credit. Improvements, 1080p graphics and stuff. It's the same gameplay, it just looks nicer.
I'll give him credit for getting away with doing the same game twice or 3 times now. You don't see that happen ever, but you know what? That's fine. Do it. But now we have a sequel coming, so I don't care. That's all that matters. Sequel.
Yeah, sequel. That's okay. We'll see it. It'll be fun. And yes, you will still be able to play with it. Don't worry. We'll make sure we save you a little time on the on one of the 360s in the break room, just for you, Soulrift. Well, there are a lot of news stories that are still on the way going up on the website, GameSHOUT.com. Make sure you head on over there and check them out. There's a couple of things I want to kind of tease you with a little bit. Activision and Asper are bringing Guitar Hero 3 to the PC and Mac. This is kind of cool. I talked to him over at Asper yesterday, and this fall, this is supposed to hit the PC and Mac. You're going to be able to rock and shred cross-platforms in multiplayer rock with each other. This is going to be kind of cool, so check that one out. Hey, the Master Chief has been done up in clay, is at Madame Tussauds in Las Vegas. This is the first time that a video game character has actually been immortalized in this wax museum in Madame Tussauds. So you gotta go check that out. That's also on GameSHOUT. And a couple of other little things. It looks like after a very, very long wait, Team Fortress 2 is supposed to hit the streets next week in the orange box with Half-Life 2 Episode 2 and Portal. So if you are of a mind, you can pre-order that orange box now. And one other additional piece of little tidbit here. It's kind of interesting if you are a Halo 3 nut. Microsoft has so far spent about $10 million in their marketing blitz right now on Halo 3. And do you think that marketing blitz is really that necessary? I don't know. I'm interested in your thoughts. Drop us a note at news@gameshout.com. That's news@gameshout.com. We're always interested in your comments. But for now, that's all the time we've got for today. This is Captain Maverick, and with me, of course, are always sexy and effervescent Josh Britt and Simon. Say goodnight, guys.
Good night.
And Josh.
Peace.
Peace out, guys. We'll see you next week, same time, same channel.
This is GameSHOUT Radio, the #1 talk game station in the world. Visit GameSHOUT.com for more info. GameSHOUT. GameSHOUT.